I have props. Some would say that that's a little bit lazy, and some would say that it's inventive. And I'm going to go with that it's inventive. First, I just want to say thank you so much for all spending your Saturday here, especially those of you in the sun. You're brave. This is really, really fun, and I'm so excited to have the opportunity to do this. I want to thank Gucci, Eric, Paige, Lauren, all of the people on camera and sound, and all of you guys so much for coming. It's truly an honor. Thank you. Yeah, it means the world. I am really excited to have the opportunity to do this. As you can see, this show is called Who Do You Think I Am? And I have to warn you up top that it contains self-righteousness, self-importance, cockiness, therapy speak, Malaysian Airlines conspiracies, white and lots of other different types of privilege, and champagne problems. So when I was in college, I was dating this guy, and he is what you call a dumpster fire of a person. We both drank too much and would get fucked up. I mean, it's college, that's bound to happen, right? So one night, I was at a frat, and I did what's called a dab. For those of you who don't know, they probably invented something stronger by now. This was quite a while ago. But for those of you who don't know, at the time, it was the strongest weed known to man. It's like the crystal meth form of weed. And I hit a dab rig, and I didn't really cough. It was real like pick me behavior. And I was like, this is cool. I'm gonna do another one. And my friends were like, no, you don't need another one. And I was like, oh, you don't think I can handle a second one because I'm a girl? And they were like, no, you just don't need a second one. No one needs 2 dabs. And I was like, all right, bet, give me another one. And I hit it, and I literally started pissing standing up. Yeah. So my boyfriend was like, let's get you home. So he took me home, and he brought me, tucked me into bed, and he was like, I'm gonna go, babe. I'm gonna go like have a night. And I was like, you do that, have fun. Except for I probably was like, and a couple hours later, I woke up to him calling me like repeatedly. I had like 6 missed calls. And so I picked up, and he was like, hey baby, I just really wanted to wake up with you. Is that okay? Can I pick you up? So we went back to his room, we cuddled, we like made out a little bit. For those of you who thought I was a virgin, I know my skirt might tell you otherwise, but I'm not. So I went back to sleep, and I woke up again a while later, and he was gone, and his alarm was going off. And I don't know if you guys remember the old iPhone, but you had to like swipe the phone open to turn off the alarm. Do you guys remember that? Okay, yeah, I'm getting some nods. So he was gone, the alarm's going off, and I swiped it open to turn off the alarm, and it opened to a text from a girl that said, I wish you had still been in my bed when I woke up. Yeah. So this man dropped me off, fucked a girl, came back, fucked me, and then went and like took a shower or something and was gonna pretend like it never happened. This is what's called a villain origin story. Yeah, so obviously I broke up with him right away. No, I didn't. No, I kept dating him for like 2 years. And like low self-esteem will fucking get you. But a couple years later, I was in therapy, and I was talking to my therapist, and I was like, and I just want to know, who the fuck does he think he is? And she looked at me, and she said, the better question is, who does he think you are? Yeah. So that brings me to my next point. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the concept of like a guilty pleasure person. Someone who you like know is so bad for you, but it feels good, it's fun. You're kind of like, this is like a cigarette. Like it's gonna kill me later, but right now it feels awesome. Yeah, so I dated a guy like that for a couple years. We were on and off, and we were always fighting about something, and that was part of the fun, You get to fight, and then you make up, and whatever. So one night, I was running around with him, and I had a brunch with my friend and his parents who were visiting from out of town the next morning, bright and early. And he and I were out, and like we'd been out all day, and I was wearing the jean shorts and whatever I'd been wearing the day before. And I roll up to brunch the next morning, straight from his house, and I had mosquito bites all over my legs. And I was like, that's weird. I don't remember there being mosquitoes. And I was like, kind of itchy. And my friend's mom is Australian, and she looks at me and she goes, you've got fleas. And before I could say anything else, she looks me up and down, She goes, sleep with a dog with fleas, you've got fleas. I got fleas from this motherfucker. They say men are dogs. This man literally gave me fleas. That's kind of impressive. That was also not the last time I hooked up with him. I, for many years, had what could be called a drinking problem. I made it my personality to be able to take like 1 million tequila shots. And that's fun, you know? Like, that's fun for a while in your 20s, like being the person at the party or the bar being like, let's rip shots. I also used to be pretty good at chugging, which started in like middle school. I would stand in the middle of a party and I'd be like, bet me $5 that I can't chug this 2 liter of seltzer. And people would be like, I don't know, you don't really know. And I'd be like, yeah, I bet you think I can't do it, don't you? And people would be like, yeah, I don't really care, man. And then I would do it, and that's like a psychotic amount of stuff to chug. But then I got to college and discovered beer bongs, and that was bad. But at a certain point, if you're blacking out all the time, you can't blame other people. And so the idea is that only you control your elbow. Like, no one can make you drink. And so I took 4 years off from drinking, which was fun. It was really easy. I never like did AA or anything. I just like decided I didn't want to drink, and then I didn't drink, and that was cool. And the thing that I was surprised by is that people are so deeply comfortable asking you why you don't drink. People are just like, oh, why don't you drink? And the level to which I would answer that directly correlated to the level to which I wanted to be friends with that person. So like if I didn't really fuck with someone and they're like, oh, why don't you drink? I'm like, I don't know, I just don't really drink, okay? Fuck off. If I saw the potential for a friendship, I would say, oh my God, it's like high school. I'm like, oh my God, I used to get so crazy, but like not today. And then if I like saw the deep potential for like a good friendship, like I do with you guys, I would tell them the truth, which is sometimes I would get so fucked up that my friends and I would end up in the desert doing meth for 3 days. We were at Coachella and we thought it was Molly, but still. It turns out that I didn't really have a drinking problem, I had an emotional problem. They say about anxiety that nothing is as loud as what's between your ears. So I get a lot of intrusive thoughts. I don't know, do you guys know what an intrusive thought is? For those of you who are silent, honestly, fuck you. But intrusive thoughts are basically, for the few psychos in here who don't know, it's like a thought that you don't want to have that like will not leave you alone, just kind of keeps nagging at you and it like won't leave you alone. So like the common one is like, what if I like drove into the median right now? Mine are more specific. Mine are like I'm sitting at a wedding and I'm like, wow, my friends look so beautiful. I'm so happy for them. What if I tackled the officiant? What if I got up and started hysterically crying and claiming that I was in love with one of them? Like, you know, stuff like that. The other day, my friend was showing me his grandma's vintage Moncala beads, and he was telling me like how sentimental they were to him, and I was like, what if I just like picked them up and ate them? I don't want to think things like this. It just happens. Unfortunately, smoking weed makes that worse, and it makes it harder to like quell the voices. The biggest one that I'm trying to stuff down is like, where the fuck did that airplane go? You guys are laughing, like we can all laugh about it, but like an airplane disappeared and we're just like, I'm the crazy one for asking questions.
Yeah, I remember in like middle school reading in my like Ripley's Believe It or Not book that I got at the book fair that they were able to read
License plates from outer space in the 90s. So I assume the capability has gotten better to see things from space, and a whole airplane disappeared. But that's neither here nor there.
My biggest recurring anxiety is that I'm bisexual.
And for those of you, if there is anyone in here struggling with your sexuality, power to you. I'm not trying to offend you. But now that I'm comfortable with myself, it's like, oh no, you think everybody's hot? What a burden. But for a long time, it like was a difficult thing for me, you know? It's like I have no object permanence with sexuality. So like I'll see a hot guy and I'm like, wow, yeah, guys are hot. I think I'm gonna end up with a guy. And I see a hot girl and I'm like, damn, women are hot. I'm gonna end up with a girl. And then I'm like, it's just like I forget every single time. And that was a big struggle for me. for like years, because every single time I'd be into a guy, I'm like, well, what if I'm like lying to myself and I'm just like pretending to like women? And then I'm like, oh my God, what if I like really like women and I've been lying to myself? So it was a struggle. And it took me a long time to come out to my friends. And when I did, the fear was kind of that everyone would be like, yeah, we knew you've been doing a really bad job hiding it. Instead, I was met with literally, but you like dick. Okay, yeah, I know. That's not it. And they're like, no, but you like love dick. And I'm like, wait, how did this become my personality? That's not okay, you guys. That's like not something you can say to someone. People felt so comfortable saying it to me. So I would say like, no, you guys, I'm like going on a date with a girl tonight. And people would be like, have fun making a new friend. And you know what? I did have fun making a new friend. So you should always assume the best. I never do. Truly, I live alone, and if I like misplace a spatula when I'm cooking, I'm like, okay, somebody fucking took it. Who the fuck took my spatula? I will get so crazy. I'm like, somebody broke into my house. They stole the spatula without me or my dog noticing to like fuck with me, to like get inside my head. And then I'll find it, and I'm like, oh, you just need to up your meds. I'm like inadvertently a pill mom. I've been on medication since I was 12. I was just like a very, very disruptive child, and I like made every single class about me, and I like made it into a stand-up special. Thank God I grew out of that. But I would just like try to get attention, and I would interrupt, and I would say a bunch of different things. I'd be like, oh, is Neutrogena a place? And teachers didn't really like that, and so they called my parents, and they were like, drug her until she drooled. And after a while, my parents were like, all right, fine. So they did. They drugged the fuck out of me. Try to drug me now, bitch. Just kidding, I do it myself. I like need to take Adderall to clean. Unfortunately, that like doesn't do it anymore because I've been on the Adderall for so long that now I have to also like cosplay as my future mother-in-law, who's like, she's like flown in for the weekend and she like kind of hates me, but she tolerates me because she loves her son. And she just like had a terrible flight. She had a middle seat and she was supposed to get upgraded and they fucked it up. And she just wants to put her feet up and relax, but she sees that there's dust all over the baseboard. And she is so fucking disappointed. Sometimes you do have to like see your world through somebody else's eyes to get the real picture. So the other day, they were doing some construction in my apartment, and this guy came over, and he was just, we were making small talk, we're just chatting it up, and he is walking around with me, and I'm pointing out the different areas that he needs to go to, and he gets to my bedroom, and he said, oh, it's a one bedroom. And I said, yeah. And he said, well, then where do your children sleep? Oh. Yeah, I get it, because I'm a woman in my 30s. I must have fucking kids, right? Rude. And he was like, ma'am, there are children's toys literally everywhere. He's like, there's dinosaurs on every single surface of your apartment. And I had this like really scary moment where I started seeing my apartment through his eyes. And I was like, oh my God. My ex moved out 2 years ago. I've just been collecting dinosaurs and stuffed animals, and oh my God, of course he thinks children live here. It's very, very, very humbling to see yourself through someone else's eyes.
So you should be your friend.
You should always be nice to yourself, and I think it's interesting because in society we always tell people like, love yourself, be kind to yourself, and then when people do, we're like, fucking narcissist. We weaponize what we tell people they should do so quickly. We throw around therapy speak a lot. We're like, oh, they love themselves, they're a narcissist. We're like, oh, J-Lo spent $20 million to make a movie about herself. What a fucking narcissist. If I looked like J-Lo and I had $20 million just laying around, absolutely I'm making a movie about myself. There's no fucking question. We call people sociopaths all the time. Like every single man I dated is a sociopath, and that's not me overusing therapy speak, that's just like a fact. But the one that I hear the most is gaslighting. And people are like always talking about they're getting gaslit by this person or getting gaslit by whatever. And I don't want to like gaslight you guys, but like you're not all being gaslit that much. Here's what gaslighting actually is. So I had a really cute dog growing up. His name was Tucker. He was an angel. He wasn't actually, he was terrible. I loved him so much, but he was really, really bad. And he would bite people. And people would be like, oh my God, Tucker bit me. And my mom would say, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. And so then I learned that, and Tucker would bite people, and I'd be like, no, he didn't. And to this day, my mom's like, no, Tucker didn't bite people. And my dog, she doesn't bite people, but she's like a little cuckoo bananas. She's over there, actually. She's very sweet. Oh, she's sleeping. But I'll be on the phone with her sometimes, and Betty will be like, at a dog. And my mom thinks it's so funny, and she'll be like, I'm gonna bite people. And I'm like, Mom, you can't do that. Okay. The next lesson I learned, didn't track to this. Hello. Is tell the joke all the way through. So, actually, I don't like this one. So, life comes at you really fast. It's kind of interesting. On my 30th birthday, I literally threw my back out. It was like clockwork. And I happened to be on mushrooms and on a slip and slide. But that's besides the point. You know, one day you're like young and hot and you're Googling like blowjob tips that'll wreck his life. And then you're like Googling like, can I get my mustache waxed if I'm on retinol? My friend was complaining to me the other day. She was like, yeah, I went to get my eyebrows done and they were so rude. They like asked if I wanted to get my lip done too. And I was like, bitch, I literally go to get my lip done and they're like, do you want your chin too? And I'm like, fuck off. So you can't go to the hardware store for milk. You can't expect things from people. You know, you kind of have to temper your expectations to what people are capable of. So like there are certain friends that you will go to in a crisis or if you're going through a breakup and they're great for that, but they're like not fun at a party. And then there are some friends that are really fun at a party, but if you need them when you're going through something, they're just not for that. So, you know, you don't go to the hardware store looking for milk. And the same thing is true for relationships. Like, if you are dating a fuckboy, you cannot expect them to be your boyfriend someday. If you are dating a fuckboy, your best case scenario is that someday you'll get to see them cry. So they say that the universe repeats itself and continues to send you lessons until you learn them. And the lesson that I have been repeatedly sent again and again and again is like handsome men who look like they might storm the Capitol in 10 to 15 years. I really wish that that wasn't my type. It's super unfortunate. I can't help it, but I do think I'm getting closer to learning the lesson. And what I've learned is that if you're gonna date an emotionally available man, you gotta date at least 3. So you figure out how much time you have in your schedule for dating, and you pick as many as you have time for. Like, LA is lousy with them. I'm sure there's a couple here today. So then you have like guy A, and he won't text you back for a couple days, but guy B didn't text you back yesterday, so he'll text you today, and guy C will probably text you tomorrow. So like you just kind of like play them off of each other, and between the 3 of them, it's almost like I have a boyfriend. In a real way, I've started dating myself, and it's been really fun. I know that's like super cheesy and LA cliche, whatever, but it's like the best relationship I've ever been in. Like, we have so much in common. You know, I always want to have sex when I want to. I know exactly what to do. I never have to compromise on like where we're going to eat or what we're gonna do. And I like buy myself my favorite flowers and I do all these really nice things for myself. And it's one of those things where it's like, I see why they used to force people to get married in their 20s, because like now that I've had this relationship, like I'm not settling, sorry. But my villain origin story of asking who the fuck do you think I am has led me on this road where now I'm comfortable kind of being a J-Lo-esque narcissist. Like, I had to work so hard to get self-confidence, and now that I have it, who the fuck do you think I am? Thank you guys so much. I'm Hadley.
I have a couple things that I didn't do that I would love to test on you, and maybe one of them will make you laugh. I went to an orthodontist, and he was like, so why are you here? I was like, oh, my bottom teeth are like super fucked up. I thought it was obvious. And he goes, oh no, just looking at you, there's like a lot wrong with you. Second time I went there, he's like making his regular small talk, and then he's like, okay, open your mouth, and he looks at my bottom teeth, and he goes, oh, I remember you.